In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on, bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Defend Your Movie. I am your host, Sean Donnelly. I am sitting here with my co-host. Very somber co-host today. A little bit zombie, a little bit bummed out. I don't know, how's it going, Farrah?
It's fine.
Well, you're pouting. You were pouting earlier a little bit. You're very upset. I feel bad. I'm sorry.
I'm going to cry on the podcast.
Are you going to cry? Don't cry on the podcast. Really? You're gonna, go for it. If you have to cry, cry.
You know what would make it better, Sean?
What?
$500.
If somebody just gave you $500 right now,
I'd feel a little better, yeah.
Oh, are you referring to when I just offered you cash when you were crying?
Yeah.
That's not how that went down. Okay, here's the thing. Our guest this week is the very funny Leah Bonnema, everybody.
Yay.
I'm introducing you so you can
I'll also
cool
take
talking.
$500.
Yeah.
If that's getting passed out.
No, it's not. What happened was...
I'll take $20. I think that would substantially lift up my
Yeah,
day.
Sean, any money would be...
Actually, I would take a stamp.
I don't know
Does
what
anybody have a stamp?
kind of money you guys think I have. Just this
I love
willy-nilly...
it. Sean rides around in a limo.
You're also wearing a watch, so that says...
I'm wearing a Fossil watch that was $40.
I mean, that's fancy.
It is fancy, you're right. No, what Farrah's talking about is one time... Farrah was getting upset about something, not being able to pay for something, and I was like...
I was not able to pay for it. It was just way more expensive than it should have been.
Yeah, and I offered as a friend to help out,
It was so sweet.
and then she made it sound like, yeah, I was crying, so you offered me cash.
He
I'm
like
that
pulled
sounds-
out his wallet though, and he started pulling.
No,
that
I did
out.
not pull out my wallet.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. No. That makes it sound so much worse than it was.
No, like first of all, it was. I then started crying harder because I was so grateful to have Sean as a friend, because it was the sweetest, nicest thing ever.
I feel like this is a beautiful story.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It was, but the way you retell it is like it sounds very
I think
cheap.
it was I think it was the cutest thing ever. I was like sad, and he was like, "Here, stop." Like he was like, it was very sweet. I think it's a very sweet story.
But now you're bummed out. Do you want to tell everybody why, or do you want to keep it to yourself? You don't have to.
No, I mean now it's awkward if I don't, but it's just that my friend moved today.
Farrah's friend
Blair Saki,
moved to California.
former Defend Your Movie guest.
She was on Defend Your Movie. She
I
defended-
want to snap out of this. I feel like there's a dark cloud over my head.
You're in a funk. I can tell.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
bummed.
I didn't know this. That you felt this way. I feel bad. Are you
Well,
all right?
Yep.
We're going to cheer you up with today.
Well, this is what I'm excited to be here. I was excited to see you guys. I love Leah. Such a big fan. Saw her at New York Comedy Club the other night. Was wowed.
Oh,
So funny. I knew coming here was going to make me feel better. But
what
yeah,
show
I'm
did you guys do
tired.
at-
I'm hungover. I'm a mess.
What show did you guys do at New York Comedy Club?
Nacho bitches.
nacho bitches.
Nacho Bitches. Whose show is that?
Blair Saki and Corinne Fisher's.
Oh, okay, cool. Is this, and then
It's such a great show.
Yeah, it was so
my
fun.
God.
Oh, my
They
goodness.
pack
Always,
it?
every month, it's packed.
That's a good club now.
Oh yeah, it's a great club.
had
We
a
were
great
there
time.
last night.
Yeah, we were there again last
I
night.
spent the whole weekend there. I was there Sunday for Robert Dean's album recording.
That's correct.
I was there Friday for the show me and Leah were on, and then last night for Blair's going away party.
Should we take time? Should we talk about the comedy controversy before? You know what it is? You know what annoys? You know, more than anything, a different take on it. You know what's annoying me now is how it's affecting stand-up. Like, a friend of ours told me a story about how his brother introduced him as a stand-up to somebody over the weekend, and they were like, "Oh, you're gonna masturbate in front of me?" And I'm like, ugh, and then we were both
That
like,
sucks.
he brought up a good point. He's like, that's the new, you better be funny. That's the new, tell me a joke.
Yeah, but it will pass, and
It'll pass, but it's just,
I hope so, but it is definitely a cloud on comedy right now.
it's a big cloud on comedy, and it sucks that it's a cloud on comedy.
It's not a big. It's a cloud.
It's affecting my whole entire. If you want to, like, social media wise, if you ignore social media, yeah, you're
but
fine.
I do like when this kind of stuff happens. I do like. I've been on Facebook a lot less.
Oh, I'm off Facebook. I've been off Facebook. But the other way of seeing this is imagine what it's like to be the person whose career's been held up because people have wanted to take their penis out on you when you wanted a job. I mean, it's a little more, I think, time consuming than somebody being like, oh, you're a stand up, do you jerk off on people?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the other side of that
I'm not
coin.
comparing them.
Oh, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no,
I think it needs to not necessarily with that's like how
And
you
the thing is,
how
it's
you put
not
that on a scale of
specifically
what
on
that does.
stand-up.
It's more
I
about
don't-
what women
I don't-
have to go through
I think
to
they're
get
mutually
jobs.
exclusive. I don't think that. I think that they. No, I'm saying. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, and that sucks. But like, I
Yeah,
don't
like,
pretend.
that's more uncomfortable than that. But
But I'm not.
I just think also though this is the moment of Louis, but this is. I mean, there were so many many other industries like. Director. I mean, Louis is just
the
one of
president
like
of our
50.
country.
Oh, I read an amazing article about Bill Clinton yesterday, which I was pretty young when he was president, so I didn't know really. I don't know how much you guys know about the allegations that were made to him and how the feminists responded in the time. Basically, Gloria Steinem shut down this woman who came forward saying that Bill Clinton raped her till she was bleeding. Like, bad shit.
And Gloria Steinem shut the woman
Yeah.
down.
It was a different time.
I think there's also, though, not to say that he's not a sexual assaulter, a sexual harasser, there were stories where the woman came forward and then swore to oath that was not true. And then came back and
Right.
said it
See,
was
now I'm
true.
just reading
So
the
that's why
article.
that issue
I don't
was a little
remember.
more. Not that he isn't still, but I mean there was more to that.
I didn't know. Like, I thought when people were calling him out and saying, oh, it's going to come towards him, I thought they were talking just about the Monica Lewinsky thing. Like, I just didn't know
Oh, no,
the
yeah, there
scope
was-
of the news at that time.
I only knew the
'Cause I was a
Monica Lewinsky
kid.
thing at the time as well. But also the reason they bring it back up now is because Hillary helped put the kibosh on it when it was
Right,
going on.
right.
Because they had their aspirations and
Of
they had their.
of course.
So I think she was kind of not complicit in a way by not outing the whole thing.
Okay.
So that's why they're giving now that everybody hates Hillary.
Yeah,
They're going off on her for not sticking up for it. But you're right, it was a different time. Like that stuff was buried easier than stuff is now, and it was more acceptable.
There was different attitude towards it, I think, which...
Yeah. It's one of those things where the thing that's going on now with comedy, it's right. There's tons of other industries where this stuff is going on. Right now, it's being focused on in the entertainment industry and then stand-up comedy because of the Louis thing, and then you have politics because of that dude from
Politics
Alabama.
are huge. They put in a new
Roy
law
Moore.
that's
Roy Moore.
a new law that's requiring senators and all types of government officials to undergo mandatory sexual harassment training now.
Oh, are they?
I mean, politics is just as dirty as entertainment.
oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the point. But the other thing that annoys me is the other thing when this stuff comes out, okay, you're smart for getting off You're off Facebook. What, do you just have a fan page? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I think I'm going
Can't
to do
take
that.
it. People are arguing, and it's not. I don't feel like it's a helpful.
No, it's not helpful. That's a good way
it's
to put it.
also it's kind of dead. Just so you know.
Well, you say that. But
I think
there's
it
tons of people
is.
still on Facebook posting stuff.
I think
And
it also
people
sucks
you
your
know.
time, and then
People
you're also
you
not
know.
in your own life.
Yeah. What?
You're also not in your own life at all. You know what I mean? It's,
Well, that's a good point, and I think that's why I think I have to get off of it as well, because the other thing, the articles, the thing that came out of this Louis thing was I think what happens is because of the way that show business is, when stuff like this happens, it breeds all these instances of like, hey, all these articles come up and it's written by people like they're experts. It's like the most 20/20 hindsight thing I've ever seen in my life, where people are like, look at this bit, look what he did here, look what he did here. It's like, you didn't say shit when it was going on. You just let the guy just had the special where he had a bit about the word faggot or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, but now that all becomes incendiary because you're deciding that you're a saint and you're writing an article about
I saw
it.
something
That's what annoys
someone
the crap
else
out of
said
me.
about this. Why are you coming after Louis' comedy? This, that.
For me, the issue is not. Obviously, it's never anybody's comedy, but it's also like not jerking off or not jerking off. I think it is important, though, to bring to light how many multiple things women are dealing with on a regular basis when we just wanted to show up and tell jokes. And I think that that's important that it gets discussed and that it's unveiled on how many, because comedy. You need to be able to show up and hang out with people, and sometimes you just can't go to places anymore because somebody has been inappropriate with you and you just can't deal with it. So you just have to take yourself out of that position, and then you just can't have that job.
See, that's what
that's the issue.
Yeah.
That's what I think the issue is.
Like, there's known things that women comics know about.
There's known people out there and situations.
Every person's had a situation.
Multiple situations. And then we can't, if you've tried to tell somebody and then people are just like, shut your mouth about it. And then you just stop and then you just hold it all in and you just find other routes. And it's so much extra.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, very important to talk about.
Absolutely. I agree. And all that shit should be out of there. Like, the minute that, that was happening before this Louis thing. That was happening online. People were like,
it's a healthy...
this guy is a booker here. He did this to me. This guy did this. This is a comic in this town. He was accused of this. Blah, 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 blah. Anybody else, have any instances with... And then it came out slowly but surely. I think that all that stuff should come out. The only thing that I'm interested in is, now that you have the Louis thing come out. Okay, the only thing I'm curious about what your guys' opinion is, okay, when all the Louis stuff's coming out, on top of it, they're putting him in with Harvey Weinstein.
Obviously, it's not on the same thing.
Well, that's what I want to ask you guys.
No.
Do you guys think of that? They're literally putting him on the same newspaper covers, on the same whatever.
I think they're
it is.
just doing that because they like putting blocks of pictures.
Now, am I
Yeah,
wrong?
I agree with Leah completely.
Yeah.
I think they like putting blocks of pictures. I think Louis is even more high profile than Harvey is, and that's what was missing from the Harvey story for them. I think because
he was not a
the
face.
news outlets are. You want to know who's masturbating and jerking off and coming money? Are the news outlets prophetizing off, banging out these stories, and they're putting Louis there because it's a more recognizable face. It's a more, people care more about Louis than they do about Harvey Weinstein.
They do care more. That's a great
because
point.
they don't know
Right.
Harvey Weinstein personally or,
Right.
as a character or this or that. Of course, what Harvey Weinstein did is on another scale from what Louis
that's
did.
my
It's not the
point,
same at all.
That's what I'm curious about.
It's not the same.
I'm glad you guys said that because my point was this. To me, and I'm not a woman, so that's why I didn't want
It's not the same at all. It's not on the same.
not the same level.
Not the same scale.
But here's the thing. That was my point.
Doesn't
In my
mean they
head,
both shouldn't be
hold on.
talked about.
In my head, I was thinking that when I was looking at them putting those names together, I'm like, doesn't that demean the victims of the rape by the guys who raped them? Like, doesn't that make it lesser by putting their name, those guys' names together, being like, by roping all those guys in together, the women who were raped.
Yes.
That to me, that makes that lesser. That makes it part of.
why
like,
does
I don't
it
think
make-
that
Why does
happens.
it
No?
make it lesser?
Because
What's
also, if
lesser
we
about
stopped it at a
You're
lower
you're
level,
equating it.
it wouldn't.
The numbers are
raise.
important. The
Yeah.
numbers are important to show the scale of the
How
issue.
much this happens.
I think it's always going to be
don't
around. I
think-
just think that it has to be like you said,
doesn't
how the government is
diminish
doing
their-
that thing with the classes. Like, people are going to have to think twice before they do anything.
You have to think
and,
twice
I
before
have
they rape
friends
anybody.
Who live
It's also so like I'm not trying to be like I'm like a saint or I was married
But
for 9
that's
years.
the thing. Like
But here's the
Justin
thing.
Guarini said, okay, the great
Justin
Justin
Guarini?
Guarini, yes, of
From-
American Idol. He had a great tweet, which he said, and I feel like this is where you're kind of getting to, where it's just like, you know what? I'm here to just be like, I'm a guy. I know you're not supposed to masturbate in front of a woman who didn't ask you to, and that's that. Like, simple as that.
Yeah, it's
Also,
completely
if-
alien.
when
If you're
you're
in a person who's in
fine-
charge of a job, you shouldn't bring up sex stuff.
Right.
and make somebody feel like them getting a job or not getting a job or you passing them through is beholden on them finding you attractive. I think that's a pretty fair line to draw.
And it's also like, it's just a matter of I was talking to somebody, I think Robert Dean or somebody, I was like, all of these things that are out there can be fixed by just like, hey, just don't be a dick.
Right.
Just don't be a dick. Just be like, it's like, it's, unless you have a serious.
No, but you know what it really is, Sean, then? That is really what it is. It comes down to accountability then of other men, because a lot of guys are that way, but they see someone else and they kind of know what goes on there. They heard this or that, but they're not going to speak out.
I kind of disagree with that. I'll tell you why.
You can't just say don't be a dick, because some guys are.
I'm saying in general, you can say don't be a dick. It would solve a lot of these problems if people actually listen to it and
I think this
didn't do
whole
it.
thing is going to solve a lot of problems, because the guys are going to be shitting their pants that it could happen to them.
But here's the thing, I think
they're not going to do it.
You said something I have to address. To say, oh, it's on the other guys to turn around and see something, say something. I've never really seen anything like here. That's the thing. Like, you don't. I've seen people make. Like, comedians
but the whole
make
thing
jokes,
is
but
that
not
people are saying we all did know about Louis, right? We all knew. I knew about this for years.
You knew about it.
It's so funny.
That's a gray area too. What did you know? That's what I'm so intrigued by.
Well, what's so
what do you
funny
mean
is,
you knew? That's what people are saying. We knew. You didn't know anything. You heard a rumor. I've heard tons of rumors.
Well, then right. So, but when everyone's heard the same exact rumor, it's kind of like.
But you don't. There's a. See, this is the thing.
No, but there were news articles and like backings and stuff. Whatever the point is.
No, there was news articles that were recounting rumors.
My old boss texted me. My boss from 3 years ago texted me when this came out, and she was like, "Oh, I saw this," and I thought just because she knew Louis that she was talking about me. I'm like, yeah, it's something we've heard about for years. And she said, yeah, you told me about it 3 years ago. I remember you telling me. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like, so we did.
But my point is this, like, okay, you knew about it. But when you say you know about it, you heard
so many
that,
people in that article, Sean,
really
said they told the people. There were people that did know for a fact. They told a lot of people.
But I'm saying, but not you. You heard a story from somebody else. That's hearsay. If you would have done it, the same thing that happened to Jen Kirkman would have happened to you. Actually, I don't know what happened to Jen Kirkman. All I know is when she wrote the article about the rumor, it got shut down. But people are like, oh, she was silenced. No, that's liable, because what that is, that's secondhand. It wasn't first hand.
I think she had firsthand information.
She had that. She said she was asked to open forum and she was made to feel uncomfortable, and then she recounted the story about friends of hers that were jerked off in front of her.
So
but
she told her
she
story
wasn't there,
and then said
and then
about
told
friends
a
of
secondhand story.
But this is the problem with any kind of sexual harassment.
Right.
It's not like facts on a paper.
It's not facts on a paper, but like
you're like, I was made to feel uncomfortable at a job.
But you're not like you said.
I'm just saying, if
it.
I am not. I'm barely a comic now. I was definitely not there. The fact that it got to me somehow because it was so widely known or had heard of,
right?
Is that
what I'm saying
it was very much between them and managers and shutting people down and doing whatever they did. Those people did know. A lot of people knew, is what the article made
clear.
Sure,
but what I'm saying is, like, that's what I mean. Like, I didn't know. You didn't know.
I'm not saying
fact.
you personally knew.
No. But I'm saying, but no, you said before we all knew. We didn't all know. We knew a rumor.
Well, how when an article came out though, then was it exactly everything I had heard? Like, I was expecting
because it's
to be
the same
surprised.
story that you heard,
right?
All I'm saying is, I'm saying legally. That's what I mean. Like, in my head, like, if I was to see something firsthand, I'd be like, what the fuck? I'd be like, stop. What's going on?
Okay.
But that didn't happen. And
sure.
everybody who would talk about it and say, we heard this, we heard that, you can't say, I know this happened. Because you don't know it happened.
Yeah.
That's only my point.
Right.
And
like
it did happen. And
be able to act
you're right.
on it,
And there
'cause you didn't
absolutely was people that knew it happened and didn't act on it.
Right.
And didn't
That's
do
what
it the
I'm
right
saying.
thing. Sure.
Not
That's
us.
wrong. Right. Exactly. Okay. That's my point. That's what I mean by, like, when... if you hear like, oh, did you hear this happened? Like if you hear it second or third hand or fourth hand or fifth hand, it's a game of telephone at that point. You can't just go to the cops and be like, hey,
sure.
dude, I heard this.
For
Unless
sure.
it's like firsthand I see it, or like the person comes to you and says, "This happened to me." Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, firsthand. Whatever help you need. But you can't. That's the problem with these things get mixed up very quickly.
For
because
sure. I hear what you're saying.
All that, it gets watered down. It's crazy.
I think the other problem is obviously that women don't tell people because we know how much of a problem it's going to be for ourselves. So we're afraid to tell people.
Right. Which sucks. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah.
Ultimately, and when I look at it, it's like, oh, yeah, it's tough. People are associating it with stand-up, or, oh, it's comedy, this. Ultimately, it sucks for these women. And that's the main thing we should be bummed about. Yeah, there's all these fallouts, and we can have interesting conversations about, well, now what's it to say about this, or what's it say about this? Like, when it comes down to it, I feel bad for the women and what they're dealing with, and whatever else happens in the fallout and whatever the headlines are today that will be forgotten in a month. It is what it is.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Comedy's going to be fine. Stand-up's going to be fine. We're all going to be,
Well, it's like maybe this is the burst of the bubble. What do you think? There's a stand-up bubble going on. Maybe
I don't think it's the burst of the bubble. What I do think, though, is
you think so?
I think there's a lot of people a lot of voices a lot of great projects and art that we didn't get to see because people who could move people through didn't move people through because of reasons that were possibly nefarious, and ideally maybe we'll get more voices out there because women will be able to be like, oh, I can't go through this person and that's inappropriate, I should be able to go through somebody else because I don't want to fuck that person.
You mean like the Weinstein thing with
But
him
it's so crazy, like it's amazing it's happening at this level, at this top level, but like I have a friend who works on a film set and witnesses the worst and the terrible day to day now.
Well,
for sure. But the thing is that I feel like the more that we talk about it, the people can be like, "Oh, hey, you can't fucking do that anymore."
Right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's so
ingrained.
When people tell you those stories, I'm like,
it can be terrible. And like I know this woman, she went and complained. She went to the HR, that this guy bothered her. They made him do like a training or sexual harassment training, that. Basically, it was between him and his best friend, who's the boss, and they were just fucked around for 4 hours and, whatever. Like, situations like,
but it's one of those things where it's like, they don't know that's going to be the case, and then,
it's hard. It's just hard. But hopefully this has scared the shit out of many, many people.
Yeah, I hope it busts open the conversation.
You can turn around and say, like, even the training's bullshit. They're just going, and it's like when you go to DMV classes or whatever, when you're going to class for
exactly.
Like, and maybe it is,
but it could help. Some people don't understand what consent is.
Which is bonkers,
right? But you know what? They've grown up however they've grown up. They're confused. Maybe they need the people who need that training. Maybe it'll help. The big thing I see that I haven't really heard talked about is that it's teaching women. Like, it's teaching me what's wrong, what's right, what's something I should speak out about, what's something that I shouldn't just keep to myself, or think is, oh, that's just silly. Like, it's teaching women what, that it's not okay. We just as much have felt it's okay as men have felt it's okay. That's why it's been able to continue to happen.
I think the degrees of it is why there's been such an issue in the past. So it's like, anything from the small, like a dirty joke that's told at a table, up until literal sexual abuse. Like on the whole thing, it's like, it sucks because then you're like, well. What is the point that it gets cut off at? You know what I'm saying? What's the point that you go,
I mean, that's pretty clear, though.
No, but what I'm saying is that's
cut off.
That's what sets up the environment for it to be allowed. Is like, hey, if there's bawdy stuff going on and it's a film set and it's like it's not an office job, but there is an HR really, and it's like I get it, and then it just escalates to the point of now what you're getting to. That's what I mean. Also, to me, and like I said, I'm not like sitting here being like, oh, I didn't know this. I know how guys can be, but I think what does it is I grew up with sisters, and I think that really I think that changes your brain when you're a kid. I think that teaches you you just don't do stuff like this. I never. it never really entered my head to really act that way. Like I know guys that like
maybe it's like a sickness. I don't know what it is that makes
it is.
people act that way. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's you, and that's great. But that's not everybody.
what I'm trying to say is I'm like perfect.
I know.
What I really want to say is
No,
I
I
feel
feel
like
like
I
we
was
all
just
agree
thinking,
with
I'm an
that.
angel.
What has really come from all this is that we should all just be thanking Sean and
Just for being
if
there.
you take anything from this whole scandal, just thank me for being me.
No,
Like,
Sean, that is a perfect man.
yeah, I'm a perfect man. Like I'm
gonna get you a sweater and it has "I had sisters" sewn into it.
That's
I
right
really-
next to the "I have a daughter, I
Yeah.
understand" sweatshirt.
Well, I think it really does matter though. I think that's what if I don't know why don't I think the same way as somebody else and like that it's doing all this bullshit. I think that it's got to be part
I
of it.
feel like some of those people have sisters, though.
They probably
yeah.
do, but who knows? All right, let's go to the movie we want to talk about.
Very appropriate segue.
Yeah, this is like a weird episode because we're going from this. We talked about this for a long
Well,
time.
I didn't want to talk about this.
yeah, I just came from another podcast talking about this.
Oh, did you really?
That's why I was like, let you guys talk about it.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about it a little bit.
Well, it's
and then,
a lot. We're comedians.
No,
Yeah.
we should talk about it. I
Right.
was just saying, I feel like I didn't want to.
Well,
Interrupt.
let's go to a male-driven movie after this whole.
Important.
Okay, technically, Leah is going to defend Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but nobody can actually defend that movie. But you did enjoy it, and I have major like the thing about it is
Let's go all the way back. Originally, I was defending
Yeah, originally you were defending Clear and Present Danger.
as a movie that should have won an Oscar.
See, I didn't know that part.
That's what I would have said. Why was that not?
I'm pulling
An
up
Oscar
Indiana
winner.
Jones.
Clear and Present Danger because it didn't have enough personality. Like it's just you can do that. Let's do that. Fuck it.
But then you were saying no. I think we could just work our way to. But then we were saying like a lot of people really liked that movie, so I didn't
It's
even
got
need to
82%
defend it
on Rotten
because
Tomatoes.
a lot of people really have good taste. And then we worked our way into the Indiana Jones movies, and I said, I couldn't defend that The Crystal Skull is a good movie, but I could defend that I did buy it.
You did. Oh, you meant actually bought it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Oh, you
I
purchased the movie.
I purchased it.
Oh.
I purchased 2 copies, one for myself and one for my father.
Oh my God! You
Yeah.
should be ashamed of
I
yourself.
am not ashamed.
Well, did your dad love it?
Oh, my dad's an interesting movie watcher because he hates the part of the movie where people have to like go through stuff and become things because he likes happy endings. So mostly he only watches like the last 30 minutes of movies. But with The Crystal Skull, he just doesn't watch the end.
Wait, hold on. Wait, that's very interesting. Your
Yeah, I
dad only
love that
watches.
about the last 30 minutes of movies.
But how does he know the plot of the movie? He just picks it
he
up.
just reads it on like Wikipedia.
No. Wait.
Yeah.
So what is his issue with the movie? He doesn't like.
He only wants to feel happy feelings because he's like so tired of the world. So he just watches the last half like Secretariat. You know what I mean? Like when the horse starts
winning.
Yeah, because he's like, or he'll watch it one time, but sort of like not, and then once he knows, then he just goes back and watches the end a bunch.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow. Wait, how old's your dad? Can I ask?
70.
Oh, my mom's like 73.
But he's been doing it my whole. I think that's why we're such like a Christmas movie family. We just love happy stuff.
Did he have a hard life? Your dad, growing up?
That's so different from my family.
Can I ask that?
I don't come from the kind of family that would say that.
Yeah. Well, that they had a hard family, a hard
Yeah.
life. Because that's so interesting to me. Because I'm not saying the whole movie would get. I would be so.
I mean, he would know the beginning. Like he's probably seen it, but then he just doesn't go back and watch the beginning again. He just watches.
Oh, so
I'll
the
be like,
first
"What are you
time
doing
around."
right now?" I'm watching the last 15 minutes of Battleship.
But now, do you think your dad
Sounds rad.
exclusively likes?
Yeah, it's great.
Likes bad movies.
No, but he likes movies that have a clear division between the good characters and the bad characters.
Oh, I'm learning on this podcast that this is a very big thing for people.
And my dad,
that I never thought of.
Yeah, he doesn't
Good
want to
and
have
evil.
gray, because like that's more life stuff. He also like he'll do like big violence, like Die Hard violence, but he can't take like personal violence, like violence against women or children, or like
like tinier scale violence.
tinier scale violence where it feels more intimate and
Oh,
like
sure. With feeling the feelings.
yeah, he doesn't. So he
He probably couldn't watch. He's probably like that's like Kevin McCaffrey can't watch a movie about when a dog gets hurt.
Oh, I watch no dog movies. My dad calls
I
me and
won't
asks
either.
me about the whole plot of all movies, and I used to be like, "You don't want me to tell you," and he really does. I'll tell him the whole movie, and then he'll go see it. He doesn't want to watch it if he doesn't know what happens.
That's so interesting.
Yeah,
Does he sometimes decide not to see it based on what you said?
absolutely.
So you enjoyed buying Kingdom and the Crystal Skull is like you're just adding to the problem. That movie is. How many times have you seen it? You bought it. You just buy it like, hey, so I can complete the collection?
Yeah, I have to have the collection.
Okay, that's what it is. But do you still watch DVDs now? This is back when that came out.
Oh, I still have all my DVDs. I still have my VHS.
You do?
Yeah, because I'm not getting rid of the ones that I have as original VHSs. That
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like I have the Star Wars.
Yeah.
I have all the Indiana Jones except for obviously the new ones on VHS. What am I gonna?
Now, why did you enjoy Kingdom and the Crystal Skull so much? Because I know you're not technically defending it, but I want to know.
Well, this is the thing. She said
it's
she
just
won't.
nostalgia?
She said she won't call it a good movie. But when we first brought it up before, she was very passionate about how high her level of enjoyment of it was.
Yes.
Yes.
So just because you're not saying you're not calling it a quote unquote good movie, I don't think that means you can't defend it.
Absolutely.
You're defending why you enjoy it, why
Okay.
you're happy it's here.
Okay, guys, so I can't defend that ending.
That the ending is, and also it's funny.
Or maybe some of the casting choices, but
Can you do me a favor? Can you tell people, to your best of your recollection, the ending of Kingdom and the Crystal Skull?
okay.
I'm curious, what could possibly be so bad?
All right. So,
Okay, well, they're in a pyramid,
yeah.
and they're looking for the lost. I haven't seen it in a while, so people listening, please excuse the huge generalizations. They're looking for the lost city of gold or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that it was aliens that got here a long time ago, and that's why their skulls are a different shape. And then they're in this place with, oh my God, Lord of the Rings.
With
What? I can't believe I'm blanking on her name. Galadriel. She's incredible. I'll come back to it in like 20 minutes when my medication kicks in. But
what's her name?
she's playing the bad woman. Kate
Kate Blanchett, yes.
Oh my God, of course. So anyway, they're all in this, and all of a sudden they get out, of course, as it sort of sucks into itself. I'm saying they, which would be Harrison Ford, Shia LaBeouf, however you pronounce that correctly. I was very excited because we had the lady come back. I'm blanking on names. Had I known, I would have written it all down.
Karen Allen.
Karen Allen came back, which I was so excited about. And and then they get outside, and then as I remember, it starts spinning, and then, oh my goodness, it's a spaceship.
Yeah. So the whole thing was a spaceship. And then it takes off out of nowhere.
It takes off.
But then when you tell, like, to the point where it comes out of nowhere, it makes no sense.
I realize no one can see the facial expression I'm making right now. But
You're
I'm
very perturbed.
But let's
Put it
go
that
back
way.
to the beginning where there's a
confused.
beautiful moment where Harrison Ford, or let's call him Indiana Jones, is going into the facility.
Yes.
And there's a shadow, right, that comes as he gets out of the car, and there's a shadow of the hat and the lasso, and you're like, I'm going to buy this movie.
Here, we'll give you a really quick thing here, Farrah. Famed archaeologist and adventurer Dr. Henry Indiana Jones Jr. is called back into action when he becomes entangled in a Soviet plot to uncover the secret behind mysterious artifacts known as the Crystal Skulls.
That they control your mind.
They control your mind. So that's the whole point of the movie. So you're trying to figure out the whole time. But then on top of it, to add to it, brought in as probably like a young blood is Shia LaBeouf, who I think is his
son.
It's his son. Yeah, it's his son. I forgot. Yeah, it's his son. But it's in the 50s, so
and he's
Shia
like
LaBeouf is like a greaser.
He's a greaser, and there's that great fight where they start a fight in a coffee shop.
And then they end up on like a motorcycle or
And
something.
the motorcycle through the library
what's
Yeah.
the name of this? The
Indiana
of the Crystal
Jones
Skull?
and the Crystal
Yeah.
Skull.
So we've got a 77%
Karen Allen,
Rotten
thank you for
Tomatoes.
remembering
That's
her
not
name.
Terrible.
Karen Allen is such a gem, and
Well,
I was
she's
so
great.
excited for her to come back.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, because they usually don't do that. And then they brought her back, I think, for nostalgia reasons.
And it was great to just have a woman who is like actually aged with Indiana Jones, and then there
Yeah.
she was on screen, and you're like, thank you.
I know.
Beautiful.
Yeah, she's awesome
Because
too.
usually there's like the male character who's in their late 60s, 70s, and then like a maybe 30-year-old.
Yeah, they always have like a new love interest in the.
So this was nice. They were like, oh,
Like when he was in
age appropriate.
All right, I'm interested.
Like in Last Crusade, he was like, wasn't it like the Nazi, the girl who like wasn't a Nazi and then was, and she was
She
like,
is a Nazi, and she was banging his dad too.
yeah.
Which they really glossed over the fact that they both. I mean, that was there for a second, but you're like, can we go back to where you both fucked her? Can we go back to that moment?
But I'll tell
Because
you,
I want to talk about that.
But if you want to talk about them putting into like, it's them throwing. The thing about it is like they've never brought like. Even when they have the Holy Grail is part of like biblical, like culture, biblical like folklore, whatever you want to call it. Like the Holy Grail when he was going for the Holy Grail, the first one or the second one, whatever it was. No, that was the Last Crusade.
The Holy Grail is the Last Crusade.
Last Crusade, yeah. They were going for the Holy Grail, and then they
Choose
found
wisely.
it. Yeah, and there's a whole like booby trap thing, and they had to go through. That made more sense because it was like history based and archaeology based, and
But it was also. Besides making more sense, it was emotional. Like he had to step out there. You couldn't see the ledge, and he had to step out onto it and like find your faith. It
was a better
intimate
types
moments.
of movies that I feel if I were to be tortured, I'd be strapped down and forced to watch.
Last Crusade is a great movie.
These I just never had any interest in this type of stuff.
Have you seen Harrison Ford running? Because he gets this face where it looks like he's just fighting for freedom and all that is right when he runs.
I mean, you
And
guys
it
are
tears
making it
my
sound
heart
like
out. You know what I'm talking about with that run? He's very barrel chested and he's just sort of making this face like,
Yeah.
oh, and you're like, go! And I can't even take it.
It's a manly scurry.
All right.
But it's not manly like toxic masculinity. It's just like fighter for justice.
Are you a huge Harrison Ford?
Oh my God, I can't even.
Really?
Yes.
You know what's? I just watched a clip online. Oh, you love him.
What do you love about him
Do you
so
still
much?
think? Can I
Is
ask
it
you
because
this?
of the Indiana Jones movies?
Oh, it's Han Solo.
Star Wars.
I always wanted to be Han Solo. I don't love him like sexually.
Oh.
I love him like I want to be him.
Oh, okay. Oh, not sexually.
Oh, it's not sexual.
You're not attracted to him.
I find him attractive.
You're not attractive. Yeah, what about now? You find him attractive now?
Oh, he's
now
still very handsome.
he's a handsome guy.
Very
There's
in shape. I thought in this new Blade Runner, he was exceptional.
He was great in it.
He really, I could have taken a little more Harrison Ford.
You know how they found him, right?
Yes.
He was like a carpenter.
He's a
in the movie.
carpenter.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell too. You're like, that man has multiple skill sets.
I have heard that
He's
story.
not
It's cool.
against a hard day's work.
Also, and you probably know this, in Star Wars, he came up with she goes, I love you.
Yes,
He says-
that was his line. I know, which is like the classic fucking line. She goes, I love you. He goes, I know.
Why? Why
Because
does he
he's
say
Han
that?
Solo.
'Cause he's
and
Han
that's
Solo.
what Han Solo would say.
And he,
Why would Han Solo say that? Why?
because
why
he
is
shies
that
away from
irreverent.
intimacy.
Yeah, that's a rude thing to say.
No, it was perfect in the moment.
It's badass
He was about
in
to
the
get he was about
It
to
was
get
badass?
He was about to get frozen in carbonite.
Yeah.
Why didn't he say "I love you" too?
Because she knows he did because of the way he answered it.
By saying "I know" is she
Yeah,
knows?
if you were there, you would have
This
been
sounds
like,
ridiculous.
yeah, you
So
would.
so would you say putting
I
him
hate
in
this.
this movie is what made that's like obviously he's going to be in and they're going to do another one. Do you know
Yes.
anything about that one? Or
I
no?
just know that it's happening, and I am all in.
I'm wondering how much he's going to be in it. I'm wondering who they're not going to have Shia LaBeouf as the.
No, that's not going to work
That's
out.
not going to happen. They should just have.
I also
video-
think he's so funny. He's done those interviews where they've asked him about Trump stuff, and he's just like so like, who's this asshole? Like
Yeah,
he's just
yeah.
so like, no,
Yeah, he's just an old. The guy doesn't give,
just
give
think
a
of
shit
a
anymore.
fuck.
But this movie is like. It's a there's a chink in that armor. It's a thing. It's a knock in that armor.
Where
This
do you
movie's-
think it lost? Like
the ending?
footing.
The ending is so bad that I watched it in the packed movie theater.
Did you like
and
the
people
rest
started
of the movie?
openly laughing,
You have to pretend the ending didn't happen.
but it did, and it's in the movie.
It's not
Then,
an ending
so
like
up
them.
until that ending point, though, do you like the
It felt
movie?
it felt like it was for children, which is the
Yeah.
other Indiana Jones were like adult movies.
Yeah, and they were better action movies than this was.
Yeah, this was
They had a
like-
couple of good
So
chase
did you
scenes in
already
it.
know you didn't love it before this crazy ending?
Yeah, you
or-
could tell like halfway through, you're like, what's happening?
You
I'm
could
not
tell it was
sure.
just okay. You know, like it's Spielberg made it. He directed it, right? He directed this one, and you know, it's like they just. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. But it almost is the kind of thing where it's like when you have all the factors of that movie. Like you
They
have
have great actors.
Steven
Yeah.
Spielberg
You
and
kind of
George
doesn't
Lucas.
need to be good sometimes. Like if they just would have had a normal ending on that movie, it probably would have been hailed as a really good movie. Like it really would have. Like people would have been like, it was like I think because he's in it. Harrison Ford's such a big name.
Well, and Cate
because he's in
Blanchett
it.
is-
and Cate Blanchett was, and she was bigger at the time even.
And the guy who plays the researcher is a very big actor. I think he just passed away. John Hurt.
Oh yeah. John Hurt. John Hurt's in it too.
Very good.
Yeah. No, really good act. That's what I'm saying. So if you didn't have the ending, you would have had people be like, it was really good. Like if they had a crazy great ending.
This is just reminds me, and I know this is off topic. I have never yelled at the end of a movie like without thinking about it, but I yelled at a movie this summer without even physically realizing I was yelling, and multiple people behind me yelled, and then we all just got up and left.
What was it?
Of course, I'm not going to remember. It's a horror movie, and it takes place in the woods. And oh wow, I should have thought about this. But literally, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I couldn't even believe it. I was like, "Did you forget to make the rest of the fucking movie right now?" I can't even believe it's like allowed. You know what I mean? I wanted to be like, you either make the rest of it or give me my ticket price back.
Wow.
Well,
And I like, some shitty movies.
well, that's how people were at the theater for this movie. Like when it ended, people were laughing at the screen of.
But I feel like
love
at least
that.
they made
I
a
love
choice.
that.
I
It's
need
only
to.
happened one other time.
I like to laugh at trailers. I think, like,
when
it's
they're bad.
This trailer looked
Yeah,
so good
and
for this
people
one. It
love
comes
that.
at night. It comes at night.
Oh, that was supposed to be good. Oh, it bombed, right? Yeah.
It's all the ending. Because at least with the Crystal Skull, you're like, they ended it. You're like, I don't get what happened with that choice.
But they ended
But
it.
they ended it.
Oh, well, that
It
you're
comes
like-
at night is like they just were like,
They gave up.
I guess we're out of budget. I don't want to have to explain all these other things.
So you're saying there's some good aspects to this movie, but really, that's the main focus. Like, I've never seen an ending ruin a movie as much as this movie. The only other movie is like the one I almost walked out of, which is 8mm, and that wasn't even good. At the beginning, it kind of had a cool thing to it because it was like this like mystery of finding out who made this tape, or whatever. But like even that at the end, it was so ridiculous. But Kingdom of the Crystal Skull's ending is worse than 8mm's ending. That's how bad
wow.
it is.
I didn't
Would
see
is this
8mm.
like the worst ending?
It might, of cinema history, it might be one of them.
Oh, I'm going to put It Comes at Night up there.
to
Worst
watch it.
ending. Oh, just strap in for the end.
Just bad.
Just be like, I mean, I get what they're trying to do with that,
Yeah.
but you're like, don't do that on my $20
Right.
or $16.50 or whatever it is now.
But
Plus
also-
whatever I pay for
Movie pass,
popcorn.
baby.
I mean, as soon as that happens, you know I'm going into 3 more movies after that because I'm not paying.
You're movie hopping.
I'm a movie hopper.
You
I
know-
usually bring like a hat and a change of an outfit, so I feel like I'm a character. You know what I mean? So I don't have to deal with any guilt. I didn't go in there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You got to get Movie Pass.
Yeah.
Also, another thing you
It's
have
sort
to
of
do
fun not wearing outfits.
Okay.
to realize
I
how
like
much
the
of a
outfits.
disappointment Crystal Skull was. The last one before this was Last Crusade, which was 89 or 90, 91 maybe, 89. And this one came out like 2008.
We were waiting for so long with bated breath.
Yeah, like that's the thing. There was a huge like frenzy for this movie. This movie
I
came
know.
out.
Why do people love? I'm like, what
I
do people
totally
love
bel-
about these Indiana Jones?
Why do you
so
not
much?
love them?
Because it's like,
Oh, I love the movies. I love the. I love-
they're
desert.
incredible. Some of them are in a rainforest.
I don't like action movies.
This is more about what it means to be
It's an
On a
action movie. Yeah.
quest
It's an action movie.
for justice.
They're gonna like run and jump fast, and then someone's almost gonna get hurt. And
Wow, it came out in
that stresses
2008.
me out.
May 22nd, 2008. That's like prime movie release date.
I want
That's probably
emotional
Memorial Day weekend or whatever.
complexity. I want romance.
Oh, I'm never want romance
I want
in my
you know,
movies.
Yeah.
You don't want romance in
I
your
don't
movies?
do romance movies.
Well, that's another thing that's good about these is like they kind of do romance, but they don't. Like,
yeah, I like it as a part of the thing, but I don't want the driving force to be somebody's.
See, Farrah likes romantic movies. Loves The Notebook.
Oh, I've never watched it. I'm not going to do that to myself.
Leah.
Is there a cape?
It's
Is there a
incredible.
sword?
Thank
is there
God,
a
no.
planetary?
I don't want that.
Is
I don't
there
want
a
sword.
spaceship?
You like Wonder Woman.
I like Wonder Woman, and I've enjoyed some action movies in my day.
Fast and the
There's
Furious.
been
How
some
about
ones I
Guardians
thought
of the Galaxy? Funny.
It's
fine.
great.
It's just not
What
my
about
type
Alien?
of movie. I haven't seen it.
You got to see Alien with Sigourney Weaver.
That sounds interesting, but it's just like these like Guardian Thor. There's like that. It just I don't want to see that.
How about Battlestar Galactica? The 2-hour opening.
Doesn't
I never
sound
saw
like
it.
something
So good.
I want to
Oh
see.
my Lord.
I was a Lost person, and when I was watching Lost, people were like, "You have to watch Battlestar Galactica, the remake."
So good.
Well, do this. Tell us 3 reasons why you enjoyed it. You're not defending it. We know that.
I love how I really want to make that very clear.
I'm
So
going
I
to
don't
make
get
the
tweets.
title of this episode, Leah Bonnema
You should
enjoyed.
expect a tweet storm, though. Our listeners are very interactive, and they're going to come right after you.
3 reasons. Karen Allen, Kate Blanchett, Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that's cast. That's one reason.
Oh, that's
Okay.
one reason. I also just love as soon as like the Indiana Jones music comes in,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? I get chills.
Let me
Like
ask
it
you-
happens to me in the Star Wars. P.S. I can't believe I just said that. There was a fucking chick talking behind me during the new Star Wars preview. I was at Thor opening weekend behind me. Talked through the Star Wars preview. Like,
That's a big
who
deal.
are you?
I know.
I was so mad.
That's crazy.
I
That's
couldn't take
crazy.
it. Like loudly. I was like, she needs to be ejected. Like she just needs to be ejected.
Had you
from the
seen it
movie.
already? You probably saw it already.
I'd
but
already
still.
seen it, but still,
still.
so
And, like, in the
rude.
theater.
In the theater.
I have that. I think previews are part of the movie. That's one of the things I have on the podcast.
Oh, I love previews.
I love previews. I love them.
They give me
love-
chills. I would watch 2 hours of previews.
You guys are sick. You're just like Sean. That's how he is. He loves trailers.
Yeah, but a
more
great
than a movie.
trailer is it entices you into the story.
Yep.
They got to not tell you enough, so you're guessing.
Great music.
Great music. That
I don't know.
especially things
it
that
feels
have
like seeing
music
movies
related
I
with
never
it.
asked to see.
How about this? Maybe also
Bless you.
one of your. I'm going to get bless you. Well, I'm going to give you one of your reasons is that you needed it for your collection to complete the set.
I also like that time period. It's a
So
fun
do
time.
I.
But there's a lot of hats and outfits
That's a
and
good
the
reason.
cars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, cinematically, it seems like it was tough for a lot of people to live then. You know, I wouldn't want to be a woman.
No,
or anybody
but I mean,
who
like
wasn't a white
you like the
straight
look
man
of it.
during that
and-
period of time. But
yeah.
it's a great.
Yeehaw!
You'd like to be an insurance salesman
No,
who lives in the
it's
suburbs in that time.
It's not Southern.
No, it's no.
You just hear me go yeehaw for no reason.
This is
I
the World Wars.
am a walking embarrassment.
So it's
He's
but
every
he's
moment
a
is
professor
shame.
at a college.
And then
he's-
though he definitely has some lasso and like goes down a tree at some point.
he has a lasso because he goes into, but he's not. He actually, in that one, I feel like they tried to sort of talk about McCarthyism a little bit.
They did.
Right? They were sort of talking about, because they're like.
They try to make it very 50s.
They try to make him as if he's, doing, and he's like, I've done all these things for this country, and they're like, well, we still don't trust you. So I feel like they tried to touch on some issues even.
So let's end with this. You think what's the best Indiana Jones? We talked about it a little bit before, but say it again. One. See, I say Last Crusade's the best one.
I really like Last Crusade.
I think it's the most fun to watch.
But one introduced so many things. I feel like it just opened a whole genre. There are so many things that have mimicked it. And when you think about that, it could have been Tom Selleck. I mean, what a different movie.
Oh my God.
Was one with the
didn't
guy
know.
with the swords? Oh yeah, that's right. It was supposed to be Tom Selleck.
Oh.
Yeah, but he was under, for Magnum PI, he was under contract.
There's a scene in one. This is talking about the right
With the
movie.
ball rolling down. Which was totally
that was huge.
then.
Yeah, it was huge then.
And the spiders on the back?
No, what's the one with the guy? Like the guy with
This
the
wasn't happening then.
the sword. He's doing like the sword fight, and like the guy's amazing with his like these 2 swords.
And then
he's-
he shoots him?
And he shoots him.
That's one.
That's one, right?
Iconic scene.
Also, the reason
You're
that
selling
happened.
me one.
So what happens is like there's swords. This guy's swords, and it
You
looks
would
like
love Karen Allen. There's actually a good romance in it because Karen Allen is like, I'm your partner, and you got yourself a partner. Like, Karen Allen's a fucking ball buster.
yeah. But there's a part where this guy, you think he's gonna kill him, and then he's like, ah, he has the swords, and then Indiana Jones just pulls out his pistol and shoots him. And the reason they did that is because he was sick that day, and they didn't want to film the
He
whole
didn't want
scene.
to do the whole
They
scene.
wanted to do the whole scene. So like, there was supposed to be this big sword fight, or this big like him with his whip and the swords or whatever, and this big fight scene, and he was like had the flu or something. So he's like, how about I just shoot him?
Pussy.
It's like
No,
one of the
great.
most. It's one of the
a
best
great
scenes
scene.
ever. Yeah. I
like
say
great improv.
we'll do this. This will be a bone of contention with some people. What's the best Indiana Jones? I say Last Crusade is the best one because Last Crusade has that Hitler scene
Which
that I
is
think
what
is
number?
the best one out of all that. What?
It's a
4. 4 is this one.
No.
This one's 4.
This was 4.
Crystal
That was
Skull is
3.
4. 3 was Last Crusade.
2 is nobody's favorite.
2 is that's.
But it's a fun opening scene.
Is that the one with the heart
In Shanghai. I think it's in Shanghai.
Oh yeah. But so okay, you didn't defend this, but you did a good job of saying why you enjoyed it.
I did buy it.
You did buy. Buying it is defending it. I'm sorry. Buying it is absolutely
I
defending it.
own Battleship.
Yeah, buying is a defense.
Also, I find it so interesting that your dad watches movies. I want to talk to you
I know, that's
again
so
about.
cute.
We'll wrap this up now, but I wanted to.
We do it. I'll go home and I'll be like, let's watch the last 15 minutes of Secretariat, which is a great last 15 minutes.
Wow.
You just get so riled up. You're like, I could do stuff. I could carry on. And I didn't have to go through that middle
There's
part.
no trials and tribulations. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I'm
Thank you
sorry
for
half of it
having
was
me.
comedy talk and half was movie talk, but you were great. I really appreciate it. Anything you want to plug, Leah?
I wasn't ready. I'm going to be headlining the Funny Bone in Connecticut.
Hartford Funny Bone?
Hartford Funny Bone.
Great club.
I'm very excited.
Nice. When is that? What day?
That is the weekend of, the 26th after Thanksgiving.
Perfect.
So if anybody's in Connecticut and is also an Indiana Jones fan or Han Solo, you may enjoy my comedy stylings.
Well, thank you so much. Anything else? What's your
You
Twitter?
didn't ask if I was going to see the movie.
My Twitter.
Well, she didn't really defend it. What, are you going to see the movie?
I wouldn't start with that one, though. I would
Well,
start
maybe-
with one.
I was going to say,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
I
was
get
so-
passionate.
Well, it's my fault. I didn't ask.
no, I would not ever watch the movie that was mostly described, but you have piqued my interest and I want to watch number 1.
Great.
Oh, okay. That's a good answer.
I feel
Number
really good
1 is
about this.
way better.
Yeah.
So, see?
And just hang in. I know at the beginning you'll be like, oh, adventure.
I'm never going to watch any of the others.
But wait till Karen Allen
But
shows
I will
up.
turn down the lights, smoke some weed, and watch the first Indiana Jones.
I'm really excited
I want to
about
see
this.
this rolling thing you're talking about, the
very big
ball.
deal.
I've seen it. I've seen clips.
Very big deal.
I'm excited.
All right, Leah, what's your Twitter?
At Leah Bonnema. LeahBonnema.
And Farrah Bruck, what would you like to drop?
I would like to drop patreon.com/defendyourmovie
Whoa,
because
promos.
we've gotten some new
See?
Patreon since Sean was super annoying last week about it, and I
That's just
reprimanded
promo.
him. He would not stop promoting it, but guess what? It worked. We got a bunch of new Patreons. We have new requests for movies they want me to see.
Yeah.
Guys, come on. Don't make me do this. But yeah, head over to the page. There's some fun chats and a lot of bonus content over there, so check it out.
Awesome, and I will use my promo to talk about. We're going to do a live version of Defend Your Movie on December 2nd at Union Hall.
Oh, fun.
In Park Slope in Brooklyn. Yeah, so come check it out. The tickets are on sale right now. There's a Facebook invite for it, and yeah, just go to Defend Your Movie on Facebook, just facebook.com/defendyourmovie, and you can find the ticket link if you want to come and check it out. It's a really great venue. They have great food and beers, and it's going to be a fun time. So come check it out. And thank you guys so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Did you have fun?
I had a great
Oh,
time.
awesome. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
My